The US and China are locked in a trade war, a conflict that has been brewing for years and shows no signs of abating. This is not a new story. The roots of this economic battle stretch back decades, with both nations vying for global supremacy. For years, tensions have simmered between the world's two largest economies, each seeking to outmaneuver the other in a high-stakes game of economic chess. Tariffs have been imposed, threats have been exchanged, and the global market has held its breath, waiting to see who will blink first. The conflict, rooted in economic and geopolitical rivalry, has far-reaching consequences, impacting businesses and consumers worldwide. From multinational corporations to small local businesses, the ripple effects are felt everywhere. Despite moments of seeming détente, the trade war continues to escalate, with each side digging in their heels and preparing for a prolonged battle. In recent weeks, the US slapped a hefty 145% tariff on certain Chinese imports, a move that sent shockwaves through the global economy. This aggressive move came as no surprise to Beijing, which promptly retaliated with its own 125% tariff on selected US goods, further intensifying the standoff. The back and forth has become a familiar, if unsettling pattern in the US-China relationship, with each side trying to outdo the other in a tit-for-tat escalation. The ongoing trade dispute has fueled uncertainty in the global market, causing stock prices to fluctuate wildly, and investors to tread cautiously. Businesses are grappling with fluctuating costs, disrupted supply chains, and the looming threat of further escalation. Many are finding it difficult to plan for the future in such an unpredictable environment. Consumers too are feeling the pinch, as tariffs drive up the prices of everyday goods. From electronics to clothing, the cost of living is rising, putting a strain on household budgets. The trade war's impact is being felt from factory floors to supermarket aisles, underscoring the interconnectedness of the global economy. No one is immune to the fallout. While both sides have engaged in negotiations, a lasting resolution remains elusive. Each round of talks seems to end in more frustration and finger-pointing. The US accuses China of unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, and forced technology transfer, claims that Beijing vehemently denies. China, in turn, accuses the US of protectionism and attempts to stifle its economic rise, arguing that Washington's actions are driven by fear of losing its global dominance. The impasse has led to a protracted trade war with no end in sight. As both sides continue to dig in, the world watches and waits, hoping for a breakthrough that seems increasingly out of reach. Behind the scenes of this high-stakes trade war, China is playing a strategic game. While publicly maintaining a tough stance against US pressure, Beijing is quietly offering concessions to select American companies. This discreet approach involves a whitelist, a confidential list of US-made products exempt from the retaliatory tariffs imposed by China. The existence of this list reveals a calculated strategy by Beijing. By offering targeted tariff relief, China aims to alleviate some of the economic pressure while driving a wedge between American businesses and the Trump administration. The exemptions, granted on a case-by-case basis, allow China to appear conciliatory to certain sectors while maintaining a firm stance on the broader trade dispute. Information about these exemptions is not publicly announced. Instead, Chinese authorities are directly and discreetly notifying companies that have made it onto the whitelist. This clandestine approach allows Beijing to control the narrative and avoid the appearance of backing down in the face of US pressure. The use of a confidential exemption list highlights the delicate balancing act China is performing. On the one hand, Beijing wants to protect its domestic industries and project an image of strength on the global stage. On the other hand, China recognizes the economic risks of a protracted trade war and seeks to mitigate the damage by offering strategic concessions. The whitelist is not a random assortment of products. China has carefully selected which US goods to exempt from tariffs, prioritizing strategic industries and essential goods. Pharmaceuticals, microchips, and aircraft engines are among the items that have found their way onto this coveted list. The inclusion of these particular products reveals China's strategic priorities. Pharmaceuticals, for example, are crucial for public health, and China is reliant on imports to meet its domestic demand. Microchips are essential components in a wide range of industries, from consumer electronics to aerospace, highlighting China's technological dependence on the US. The rationale behind these exemptions is twofold. First, it allows China to secure access to critical supplies and technologies that would be costly or difficult to obtain elsewhere. Second, by exempting products from key U.S. industries, China aims to sow discord within the American business community, potentially weakening support for the Trump administration's hardline stance on trade. The White List represents a strategic tool for China in its trade negotiations with the U.S. By offering targeted tariff relief, Beijing can appease certain sectors of the American economy while maintaining pressure on others. This calculated approach allows China to play a more nuanced game, maximizing its leverage in the ongoing trade dispute. Section 4. The Two Faces of China: Public Defiance, Private Deals. China's handling of the tariff exemptions underscores the dichotomy between its public and private actions in the trade war. On one hand, the nation presents a front of unyielding resistance, while on the other, it quietly makes concessions to ease economic pressures. On the world stage, Beijing projects an image of unwavering resolve, vowing to match U.S. tariffs measure for measure. This public stance is crucial for maintaining national pride and demonstrating strength to both domestic and international audiences. State-controlled media outlets regularly denounce American bullying and emphasize China's willingness to endure economic pain to defend its interests. These broadcasts are designed to rally public support and foster a sense of unity against a common adversary. However, behind this facade of defiance, a more pragmatic approach is at play. Chinese officials are acutely aware of the economic ramifications of a prolonged trade war and are taking steps to mitigate its impact. The quiet granting of tariff exemptions to U.S. companies reveals a willingness to make concessions, albeit discreetly. These exemptions are not widely publicized, allowing China to maintain its tough public stance while easing some of the economic strain. This two-pronged strategy allows China to appease domestic audiences with displays of strength, while simultaneously mitigating the economic fallout from the trade war. By balancing these two approaches, China aims to navigate the complex landscape of international trade and diplomacy. This duplicity highlights the complex realities of navigating a trade war in the age of globalization. The global economy is interconnected, and actions taken by one nation can have far-reaching consequences. China recognizes the need to project strength and deter further escalation, but it also understands the economic risks of a prolonged conflict. The leadership is keenly aware that sustaining economic growth is vital for maintaining social stability. By operating on two seemingly contradictory tracks, Beijing seeks to safeguard its interests while minimizing the damage to its economy. This dual approach is a calculated effort to balance national pride with economic pragmatism. The success of this strategy remains to be seen. It is a delicate balancing act that requires careful management and constant adjustment to the evolving geopolitical landscape. While the tariff exemptions may offer temporary relief to some U.S. companies, they do little to address the underlying tensions fueling the trade war. The fundamental issues of trade imbalances and intellectual property rights remain unresolved. Moreover, the clandestine nature of these exemptions risks further eroding trust between the two sides, potentially hindering efforts to reach a lasting trade agreement. Trust is a crucial component in any negotiation, and its absence can lead to prolonged conflicts and missed opportunities for resolution. Section 5. Trump's Trade, Tango, Optimism, and Pressure. On the other side of the Pacific, President Trump continues to dance a delicate tango of optimism and pressure when it comes to China. His approach is a complex blend of hopeful rhetoric and strategic pressure, aimed at reshaping the economic relationship between the two superpowers. Despite the escalating trade war, he has repeatedly expressed confidence in securing a fair trade deal. His public statements often emphasize the potential benefits of a successful agreement, suggesting that a win-win outcome is within reach. Just recently, he lauded the substantial progress being made in negotiations, fueling speculation about a potential breakthrough. This optimism is designed to reassure both domestic and international audiences that a resolution is possible. This optimism, however, is often interwoven with thinly veiled threats and a hefty dose of pressure tactics. The administration's strategy includes imposing tariffs and other economic measures to compel China to make concessions. The Trump administration has made it clear that China must make significant concessions on issues like intellectual property protection and forced technology transfer to end the trade war. These demands are central to the U.S.'s position and are seen as non-negotiable by Trump's team. The madman theory of negotiation, characterized by unpredictable behavior and a willingness to escalate tensions, appears to be a key element of Trump's approach. This tactic aims to keep the opposition off balance and create leverage in negotiations. This strategy has yielded mixed results at best. While some business leaders appreciate the tough stance, others are concerned about the long-term implications for global trade and economic stability. While China has shown a willingness to negotiate, it has also pushed back against what it perceives as U.S. bullying. The Chinese government has implemented its own countermeasures, leading to a tit-for-tat escalation. The recent tariff exemptions can be seen as both a concession and a calculated move to exploit divisions within the U.S. business community. By offering exemptions, China aims to weaken the unified front of American businesses supporting the trade war. The ongoing trade war has become a high-stakes game of chicken between the world's two largest economies. Each side is testing the other's resolve, hoping to force a retreat without making significant concessions themselves. Both sides are aware of the potential costs of a prolonged conflict, yet neither seems willing to back down from their demands. The stakes are incredibly high, with global economic stability hanging in the balance. The result is a tense standoff with no clear end in sight. As the world watches, the outcome of this trade war will have far-reaching implications for international relations and economic policies in the years to come.